Think we are live, man. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am doing really good, man. It's always good to have conversations with you. I
Hmm.
know this one we kind of last minute, if you will, but at the same time, every time we have conversations, man, I feel like everybody needs to hear what we're talking about. You always drop some good jewels, and
Hmm.
so I always want to share with people on our platform, share with people I'm connected with. And so I just wanted to, talk about what's upcoming next week. We got some official news coming out, and so wanted to kind of pick your brain surrounding it, kind of before it goes that way. But how's this week been for you so far?
The week has been great, man. We've been having a lot of success. We've been meeting with a lot of churches, meeting with a lot of pastors, meeting with a lot of people that are coming into our organization that want to be a part of this. So I'm very excited about having a huge, huge team and a huge, huge movement in our faith division over at GFI
Yeah.
and being able to do this at a very, very big level. So first of all, I just want to say anybody that's on the live, man, thank you guys so much for your support. I know we've been beta testing, we've been going out there, we've been going to different states, we've been talking to different pastors, we've been
Yeah.
presenting, we've been doing things right, making sure that everything is compliant, making sure everything is in place. But now, man, it's about to explode. And so I'm very, very, very excited about what God is about to do first.
Yeah.
And second of all, I'm so excited about the energy and the synergy from the people that are coming into the faith division that now want to go out to the different parts of the United States and be a part of it. So it is going to be tremendously a blessing for everybody to really get this information.
No, I totally agree, man. And I've been privileged with the opportunity to kind of be ground level with you. We've
Hmm.
had a lot of conversations about it, man. I've seen the sacrifices that you make. You travel all the time, and I don't know how
Yeah.
many airplanes you probably taken in this last just 30 days, but you're always traveling. You're always so willing, man, to share this information. And I know for me, I'm just truly blessed to be able to see and witness and walk alongside of you. And I
Mhm.
know you've been going to a lot of different churches. I've gone to a good amount with you, but you've
Yeah.
been going to a lot of different churches. And I think sometimes people don't really get to see the behind the curtain, if you will. So I'm gonna try to ask you some questions to really bring behind the curtain, man, because I think that if people really understand your heart behind this mission, that they'll understand why you go so hard for it. And so with you being the president and being the basically the one who is the one that's pushing for this faith division at GFI, if you could just kind of share just a little bit, man, what inspired you to really take this on? I know that you shared it with me, but I would love for people to hear your heart and how you went through the studying and what God shared with you. Just what inspired you to kind of be this forerunner for this faith division?
Well, man, that's a great question, and that's a really good question. At first, probably all started off with me just growing up in the church, and my father being a pastor, and my grandfather being a pastor, and having brothers that were pastors. I come from a big family from the South, and then grew up here in the Bay Area. But most of all, a lot of it comes from the fact of as a businessman and as a child of God first and a businessman second, I had started having success in the business side, but really wanted to connect both together. So, under the great mentorship of Eric Olson and Mario Bayona, when GFI started, my heart was big and very hurting for the infrastructure of financial services for churches. Having so many pastors that are my friends, knowing so many people that are at churches and that are serving at churches, I really understood the fact that a lot of them just don't have the infrastructures and they don't have the technology and they don't have the tools for them to basically be able to be successful. And so during COVID, with 27% of them closing their doors and many of their doors still being closed, I took it upon myself to want to do something about it. Now, when I first started this, everybody said I was crazy. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. You're going to get thrown out. They're going to dog you out and they're going to do that. And a lot of people don't understand. That's why I went out to so many different ones to really learn. That's
Yeah.
why I interviewed so many pastors. That's why I sat down with so many bishops and parishioners to find out their feedback first
Yeah.
on how they actually felt and where they thought it was and how they thought things were actually working. And then number two is having the support of the great company GFI to basically back me up with being a faith-based organization. We live by the 5S: faith, family, fun, fitness, and finance. But the first
Yeah.
F being what? Faith.
That's
All right.
great.
And then us understanding that they allowed me to be able to have a faith division. So that was second. But then number three is to have the correct information and the bandwidth. Our organization basically has so many believers in it and so many companies that are willing to work with us. with these organizations. Doesn't matter what denomination, doesn't matter. I went to all of them. I grew up in Baptist church and was working in a non-denominational church, and
Yeah.
then got to go to Church of Christ, and then learned there was a difference between Church of God and Christ and Church of Christ, and then did a commercial for the Church of Christ, and then
Yeah.
all these other things so I've learned all these different things, but there's been one major problem still, that they don't have the financial infrastructure
Yeah.
place for all of them. I'm not talking about the big guys, because a lot
Yeah.
of people are confused. "Oh, my church got 10,000 people." That's awesome. But for all of our guys that are out there going from Sunday to Sunday, all of our people that are out there that are serving in these organizations and these churches that have been around for 100 years, all these people that are out there that I'll give you an example. This is what broke my heart. I met with a pastor not too long ago. Huge church, right? Watch this, pastor. $14 million mortgage on the church.
Oh, wow.
When I looked at his finances, he's not even bringing in 20% of that
Oh, wow.
per year. So they built a big building,
Yeah.
and that's all it is. And that's all it'll ever be
Yeah.
until we can go in there and actually get some. Then there's other ones where the parishioners are going there
Yeah.
and they're going to the lighthouse to learn and the worship centers and stuff like that. Yet and still GoFundMe keeps on raising up,
Yeah.
keeps on going up.
Yeah.
Nobody doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
All we're doing is shorts and videos and all that. So I just decided, man, to put my big boots on, man, and get out there and roll my sleeves up and take time away from my personal business and take time away from my family to actually push this as
Yeah.
hard as I can. And then also the last part was to make sure that it's compliant, to make sure that it has biblical principles in it, to make
Yeah.
sure that they can look it up, that they can understand, that they can get all information. Because so many people I talk to, like, hey, Rev, we got to be careful. One preacher told me we
Yeah.
got to protect the sheep from the wolves. I said, Pastor, you don't even have the education to identify a wolf.
Yeah.
So ultimately, had to really like start from the ground zero
Yeah.
to really understand how to do that. So that's the reason why it's on my heart. It's going to be super successful. I mean, we got comedy shows coming up, we got concerts coming up, we got
Yeah.
so many things that we're going to be able to do to lift up the people of God to be able to help them with this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And I can honestly say, you sacrificed time, your business, but you've also put in, and I don't know if you won't care for me to say this, but you've invested. I've
Yes.
seen and I've witnessed you've actually invested your own dollars. To me, that speaks to the Bible says what? Your heart, where your treasure is, so is your heart. And so
Mm-hmm.
to actually be standing side by side with you and actually see you put the amount of money that you put into this to make sure, like you said, that the compliance is there, to make sure that the training for people like myself and other people that are coming alongside of you is there. And so again, that's definitely kudos to you in that regard.
Thank
I
you.
really vouch for that, and that speaks to your heart and your belief in what God is telling you to do. Because a lot of people say they believe God, but when
Hmm.
when the rubber meets the road, as they say, they kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know about that. But I've literally seen you time, finances, resources, like you said, time away from your family and such. Now, with your experience from the financial industry, because you may mention
Yeah.
you're a businessman, you've been in business for a long time, you had great success, and what most church people would say would be in the secular arena, vice president, so on.
Hmm.
So you have all this business understanding, you understand the finances, you've been in it for a very long time. What
Hmm.
have you discovered that when you're trying to bridge that gap between churches or
Hmm.
leaders with the churches or the congregants, what have you discovered that is the biggest barrier when it comes to trying to communicate to
Yeah.
with those?
Wow, that's a really good question. The biggest barrier that I've encountered is that because we have so much information that's out there today, we tend to think that people are educating themselves or that people are in the know, when actually that's totally opposite. So we really have to start at a ground level and work our way up. Yes, there are some organizations that have great advisors in it, and it's a
Yeah,
very small number. So you really got to understand the temperature to meet them where they're at. That's why we have a marketing kit, a website, and things that they can kind of go through before we get there. And then another thing is that we started a thing called a planting program, to where we're actually going to be planting people that they already know in their congregation.
yeah,
So the way
okay,
basically after we leave, they don't have to feel like, we came in there and said a bunch of stuff and they didn't catch it. So my biggest barrier has been on the fact that there are many people who are still in the stone ages about finances. There are
yeah,
some people that are ashamed of their finances. There's
yeah,
some people who haven't read any books about their finances. They're just dependent on their job and basically still, got statements from 1983 and things of that nature. So just understanding how to really have information that meets them where they're at. You don't want to go too high, and you
Yeah.
definitely don't want to be too low. You want to be somewhere right in the middle so that everybody can kind of understand it. So we have put together information and different type of uh, how can I say education for them to be able to understand it as we take them along a journey.
Yeah.
So that way they don't ever feel left out about where they're at financially. It's number one, because
Yeah.
that's a big deterrent. People get turned off when they think that you just got to have a bunch of money to be able to protect your family with
Yeah.
legacy, and they get turned off real fast. But then number two is to make sure that they understand where they can get the information. And then, like you said, number three, you got to invest to be blessed. So I've invested a lot of my personal money into things to make sure that when we do come, that we do not only a miraculous job for them, but that they can actually have things that they can feel, they can touch, they can learn, and through our technology systems, through our AI empowered systems, that they can actually do a lot of this stuff themselves. So they don't have to be about me. It doesn't have to be about my staff. It doesn't have to be about the company. It's about them. So really meeting them where they are and being able to do that. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes for our older laymen that are in the church, they have trust issues.
Yeah.
And so we have to definitely break that down by being able to actually kind of show them and actually being able to have things that they can actually research and kind of learn along. And then to our younger people, their budget is tight,
Yeah.
right? So they basically think, they got a tight budget. They're just getting started out. So we got things for them. And then
Yeah.
for smart people that are in the middle, we got
Yeah.
things for them. So, really meeting them where they're at, understanding their needs and understanding that we're not a business of want. We're a business of need. Because there are
Yeah.
three major things, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But we're a business that comes in and that they need us, and so we got to kind of meet their needs.
Yeah.
So I always use the solve, not sell crusade for this, and make sure that we're there to solve issues and not there to sell them things.
Right. Right.
Mm.
One of the things I can appreciate, and I share with this with people all the time when they ask me, how did I get connected with
Yeah,
you? And I remember the Zoom call that we did like it was yesterday, right?
yeah,
And the thing that I can really appreciate that I think could kind of help people overcome this barrier of fear, bringing people in, is that your heart to teach. One of the things I
mm-hmm.
love that you may mention before is we solve, we don't sell. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the ways that I really love your approach, you come in and you really try to break things down to a simple form. If people
Yeah.
understand it, then they feel a little bit more safe around that information. And so
Mm-hmm.
tell me a little bit about your heart and even how you kind of landed on that. I mean, me being a pastor, being able to share the gospel, that's one of the things that I try to do, is share it in a way that people can take the information and apply it. But I love how you come in and you educate on very specific foundational financial principles. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, you are able to then show what are the next steps. Tell me a little bit about your heart. How did you discover that that was the best method for the information to get across?
So I did a lot of interviewing. I did a lot of talking to people. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of studying the Bible to really make the book be applicable and the principles of the Bible to how did we miss so many of the scriptures that talk about money. You hear one in your church all the time. The love of money is the root of all. I mean, that's pretty much all we heard. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of concepts and principles. 1 Timothy 5:8, 1 Corinthians 16:2, Proverbs 13:22. So a lot of the different principles that are there for us to build off of and be able to teach why we should be better stewards of our money
yeah,
and why we should be leaving legacy and why we should be taking care of our households and why we should be having these conversations that how this actually works. I grew up in a time where talking about money was taboo,
yeah,
right? Because you just grew up and you got a good job and an education and that was it. But those things don't work that much no more, right? Now you see more people struggling and stressing, and it's because they never knew how to be a steward. They never knew how to take a little and make it much, right?
yes,
They never knew how to do any of those types of things. They never knew how to grow anything. I hear this word scam all the time. People call it, Reverend, is this a scam? No, no, no. Scam stands for you're still scared of money. So you
yeah,
got to understand that the fact that it's not a scam because the education is free.
yeah,
Now, do you have the time to put into that? So my heart for teaching is really that I know that I'm going into an arena to really love on the people and break it down to simplicity to where they can do three things. They can be educated,
yeah,
can be encouraged, and then they can be inspired to make moves. We do inspirational marketing, right? We want to inspire them to basically be able to learn. And for my pastors that are out there, guys, I mean, we're doing a big push for long-term care right now to
yeah,
really help the pastors, right? Because this was something that was really in my heart to kind of teach them because a lot of the guys that I ran into on my journeys is that pastors, they just don't have things in place.
Yeah.
And so if their time is up, they're really struggling to really have those things in place. So for the pastors as well. So our mission is three-part. And this is what I teach. Number one is we want an educated parishioner. We want a person that's in the pew that's educated financially about their money. And what I'm about to say is some people think I go out on a limb, but if we're asking for money, we ought to teach them how to raise more themselves. So
Oh,
that might work, right? Number
yeah.
two is that we want a self-sustaining church.
Yeah.
So the church should be self-sustaining. It should not be in a situation to where it's actually having to go from week to week or quarter to quarter or month to month in those areas. And there's ways to do that. And then number three is we want a well taken care of pastor. So
Yeah.
we know that if the man of God is being taken care of the correct way, he can actually do his job. And when it's time for him to move on, the joke I always tell is that I can remember sitting and wanting to preach so bad because I come from a lineage of preachers. And if you're on here, you're a preacher. If you're a preacher, you want to preach. So basically, you're sitting there, but then having to sit back and always watch other preachers preach because they had to preach,
Yeah. Yeah.
not because they
I can
wanted to preach. Yeah, they got to preach. They got to do things. So and so I understanding that plethora of being able to do it is the reason why I have such a heart for teaching.
yeah.
And I feel that teaching is reaching. And I get a lot of these Q&As that I do inside churches that last an hour after I get done, or 2 hours, where they're just like, how does that work? And how does this work? And that's what we want to do. We want to allow them for the light to go off because my crusade is that we need to destroy GoFundMe. We
Yeah.
need to basically stop this stuff, man. We need to stop having these stories to tell and
Yeah.
all these things putting each other down because the person didn't have insurance, or putting our situation down because the body was in the morgue for 3 weeks. And these are the nightmares that I see that happen so much in the infrastructure of family. Now, I'm not just talking about that. You think about teaching how to, if you're well astute about money. Well, did you know that your retirement might be the wrong one? Did you know you don't got to pay capital gains taxes on your house if you sell it? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Most people don't know that, right? So
Yeah.
all these things, Rev, I don't want to sell my property because I got to pay them taxes. No, you don't. If you understand what you're doing, you don't have to do that. We're teaching right now real estate agents how to do that.
Yeah, man.
And they sold them the house and they don't even know this.
Yeah.
And so basically now so that teaching portion where they can learn and really gravitate toward it. So from the lowest level of education up to the people that are like, oh, are you just doing this? Like we're financial professionals
Yeah.
that have a fiduciary responsibility to take care of our clients. So we got everything, right? From the bottom all the way to the top.
I can remember both of us being on a call with a pastor in I think in the Midwest somewhere, and he
Mhm.
literally said that. He's like, I got to keep preaching because I don't want to be end up in the line
That's right.
getting food, the food that we're handing out as a church. So I can definitely bear
Yeah.
witness that that is actually happening. So you said it a few different times about a book. I want to kind of highlight this a little bit. Your book is phenomenal because in the way that you wrote it, right?
Mhm.
Most times we read books, we think of it as like a how to, but that's
Yeah.
not the way that you wrote this book. You
Mhm.
wrote this book to make sure that churches understood that what was available to them, and then
Mhm.
allow them to kind of choose and pick and choose what fits them best. Talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the book, the Strategic Financial Planning for All Faith-Based Organizations, it's an interactive book designed for people to understand what steps that they need for their church. So every church has a different need. So I align with the pastor, align with the boards, align with them, and say, what can we do to serve you? Because everybody has a different need. So this is the reason why we want to go and solve. So the book is designed to make sure that they understand that number one, we have proof of concept. We've already helped a lot of churches. Number two, we have 7 stewardship steps in there that are from the Bible that we want to basically make sure that they can actually have reserves and that they can actually be able to help their communities, that they can be able to help their pastor, that they can be able to build literacy inside there and to keep that going. So it's designed, the book is really designed to take you on a journey on what you can pick and choose out that's going to work for your congregation because every one of them have a different type of. But one thing that really stood out to me the most is that as we have taught out of the book, one of the sections of the books is called the do's and the don'ts when it comes to churches. And so that is a very, very big thing that we teach on and that we show so that parishioners can understand and pastors can understand that we're in the foxhole with them.
Yeah.
They need to pick and choose where they want to go, not us.
Yeah.
We are just trusted servants to come in there to basically be able to help them be able to design that. And then finally, there's a whole section inside of the book actually that teaches about our wraparound and our follow-up services that we
Yeah.
do. So we basically do a lot of wraparound. And I know we're on live, but the books looks like this, so y'all look for this on Amazon when it comes out, right? But ultimately, ultimately we want to make sure that people actually understand that we're there with them for the long haul. We're not just going to come in there, give them stuff, and disappear. The
Yeah.
technology we have will actually support us to be able to do those yearly annual reviews to constantly keep on basically making sure that people are in a good position. Because one of the biggest things that we found out is that a lot of people they get financial instruments, and the reason why they have a bad taste in their mouth is they haven't seen their agent since Moses died. And so they get an agent or somebody who works with them or a financial professional that works with them. And I'm asking them questions like, when's the last time you've talked to this guy? They're like, oh, 1993. I'm like, yeah, or 2005. Like, yeah, that was quite some time ago. So we might want to kind of bring that up to date. So if you're listening on this live, please make sure that the person you work with meets with you every year or you meet with that person every year. And I
Yes.
give you guys that one for free. Every year, you should be meeting with that person to see where you're at, what your growth is, how your premiums are being paid, how your interest rates are growing, how your progress is going. You should be able to do that stuff. So they should be able to provide that service for you. We need to get out of the ages where people are just blinded and they're showing me statements and their hands are shaking and they're going, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest things I get a lot past for, I'll be honest with you. You know, he came by the house and he showed me this, and basically, that's what we did, and we trusted him. And so it's your job to get educated about what you got. And
Yeah.
that's why I want to encourage you. We do free analysis for you. We will look at your stuff. And if it's not broke, we will not try to fix it. No matter what complexity. Remember, we do advanced planning. We have a big advanced planning division. So no matter how complex your structure is, we have some of the smartest people in the industry that
Yeah.
can figure that out for you in less than 5 minutes or 10 minutes on a Zoom. So ultimately, really understanding that this information is available for people, we don't have to keep on boxing it in. Like one of the things I got to say, Pastor, and I'll pass it back to you. I am sick and tired of people constantly telling me, are you just here to do insurance? Are you just here to
Yeah.
do this? Like,
I was kind of
I'm
about to
not,
go there a
we,
little
we
bit.
have a whole globe of things that we can do for you, but you got to be open to learn first. But
Yeah.
why is your bank putting all your money in life insurance? Why is your company doing that? So there's just a lot of things that they don't know.
And that's kind of where I was going to go to. You I got a couple questions that's in my head, but I'll ask this one first. What about the end? So a pastor or a church person is listening to this, right? And they're hearing this information, they watch it back or whatnot.
Mhm,
How would they know what to ask for, right? What
mhm,
how would they even know that they need for the company to even come in to
mhm.
even do an analysis for the church? What type of people are we looking for? What type of people?
Yeah, that's a good question. So really, we can help all, but we're really looking for people who are actually like they're not being able to really be successful financially. They have no reserves, they have no growth on their money. I did a church not too long ago. You remember up in Phoenix, and we are looking at some different types of things, and they were in the red. You know, they're bringing surplus money in, and money's going right back out. So those churches that really don't have, or those organizations, I don't want to just say churches, those organizations that really have trusted people on their finance team, but really don't know finance. And people who are, they're stressing about operational costs.
Yeah,
They're stressing about how they can have programs. I mean, I know of pastors who have great hearts and they want to do some great work
yeah,
inside the organization, but it's always what? They don't have the resources.
yeah,
They don't have the money. They want to do a feeding program. They want to do an after school program. They want to open up a barber shop or a beauty, all these different things they want to do, but they cannot do it because of what?
and have the
The
resources.
money.
Yeah,
So to teach them how to do those things. So we're really just looking for people to give us an opportunity to be able to help them and to show them how they can grow and to show them how they might get budget better, they can grow their money better, they can do things better, and be able to actually have a lot more surplus and be in the green and not so much in the red all the time.
yeah,
With their monies and stuff like that. Because, it's hard. I mean, inflation is rising all the time. And if we're still using a style of, hey, let's pull it from the pew, well, that doesn't always work. That's kind of seasonal, it's kind of variable.
yeah.
right? It's kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. I understand that we believe and trust in God that He's going to take care of us, and He does. But we still have a little bit more strategy behind what we do with what we bring in,
Yeah,
right? Well, what we bring in, we should know what to do, right? And understand that because if we don't know what to do with what we bring in, it's almost like we're blind leading the blind.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a kind of a two-part question. Number one is you mentioned something earlier. So when I first got involved with the industry, I thought it was only life insurance as well, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's like, hey, you said, hey, it's not just life insurance, and
Yeah.
so let's kind of start right there. Kind of defeat that myth, if you will, in the
Yeah.
next couple of minutes. Why should people understand that it's not just that, and then even
Mhm.
how utilizing those same resources that can open up their mind from understanding the financial freedom and protections and stuff like that that they can get.
Yeah, so as a broker dealer, we cover a lot of different areas. Mortgage protection, right? We do things like executive bonus plans. We do annuitizing their money. $84 trillion exchanging hands right now. All the baby boomers, 11,500 people every day retire, have no clue what to do with their money. And what do they end up going back to? Back to Uber, right? Back to Lyft.
Yeah,
Yeah, back, so we do a plethora of things to show people how to ensure not only their money, but how to strategically financially plan to make sure that they don't outlive their money. So it's not just about whether if you have life insurance or not. We basically have a client service menu that's second to none. We
yeah,
do business owner strategies. I mean, so many people are telling me right now, I got an LLC. I'm like, wow, do you have the accounts? Do you have them? I mean, we do all that stuff for them to kind of show them how they can be beneficial to themselves. So, estate planning, right? I mean, so many different things that we offer, tax accumulation, wealth strategies.
yeah,
We do so many different things, right? IRAs, SEPIRES, different things that basically come to mind that really help these people to
absolutely.
understand that no, you need somebody who actually has this, not just the success, but they have the flexibility to be able to get you different types of things that you need because not everybody needs the same thing.
Yeah,
So we don't just do one thing, we do many things. We're there to help all three markets. Remember, direct marketing, that's people who are kind of on a budget. All right, so they might be $50,000, $70,000 and below. Inspirational marketing, maybe 80,000, about $400,000 a year. So a lot of people like 80,000 or 400,000. Yeah, that's you. So we help all those people in between there, right? And then
yeah,
we have advanced planning, our people who actually that are doing extremely well,
yeah,
right? And they're making $1 million, $2 million, whatever. We help all those guys as well. So we have something for everyone. But
yeah,
we know one thing: most people are not educated,
yeah,
just don't know how things work. So I hope you guys are listening. Write this word down. You need to know the mechanics of things. The mechanics. How does it work? Where does it come from? Who controls it? Right? How does it grow? How does it not grow? You need to know, ask some questions around that stuff so you can really understand how things work. And then the second part you talked about was why don't people know all about the different types of things to, really how things are going? Well, I'm here to tell you, Pastor, the sad part is this: the affluent know about all these products and how to utilize the insurance industry to not pay taxes, right? The corporations know how to. The rich people know how to, but poor people don't. So
yeah.
they don't know how to avoid. It's almost like a badge of honor for them to stay in the same place. Now, here it is. Here it is. Watch this, because some people like this and some people don't. But my belief system is that I grew up that they would tell me in church and Sunday school that He created everything, right? Money as well. And so if He created everything, then we should probably know about some of the things that we have to deal with. And so, it's not that it's just a bad tool, but it is what we trade with.
Yes,
And
yeah,
so understanding how it works, how to make it grow, how to keep it, how to make sure that it's benefits for your children, how to benefit for you, is something that you ought to take the time and be able to invest the time into learning it. And so at one simple glance at Google, and people tell me all the time, Pastor, I got to do research. Well, it's been free on Google since you got the internet. So I don't know what year the internet came out, but it's been quite some time. So it's basically all there for you to actually really dive in and sink your teeth. And that's when you can have conversations. I come from a big family. And I love my family. I don't spend a lot of time always conversing with them, but all my family are my clients. So that's cool, right? So they entrust me with that. But we need to start having the conversations about, here's a question I ask everybody: what are you going to do when you don't have a job anymore, how
Yeah.
much money do you need to live off of? And how are you going to get it tax free? Then I stop. If you got sick and you could no longer operate in your role, how long would your money last? And then I stop.
Yeah.
Who would take care of you tomorrow if something bad happened today? And are you set up for that to make sure that the family doesn't struggle? And then I stop. These are all things that can be solved really quick. In the midst that if you pass, do you have your business fixed? Do you have things in place
Yeah.
so that the family doesn't have to fight? Why do we have to continuously talk about these fights that happen
Yeah.
at funeral time? But something simple could happen, right? If you got a business, are you running a business or is the business running you?
Hmm.
Because we could kind of like teach you how to stop doing that to yourself. Because I know some business owners that are really not in business.
That's fair.
hmm
That
They,
is
they think they're in business. They got a business account, they got a business title, a fictitious business name, but they don't have no life. The business actually runs them.
yeah.
So they don't know how to run a business. So we teach all these philosophies. We teach all these things. We help people with all these different types of things. And I know a lot of people are like, Leland, I don't want to hear it. I just want to go in the corner, eat my cheese sandwich, and watch Netflix. But we want to make sure, and we are on a big crusade to make sure that the men and women of God have the information. My job is to give them the information. Your job, Pastor Antoine, is to make sure that they what? That they have a shot to at least say, I got the information. Now,
That's
whether if
right.
I do anything with it or not, that's on me. But
Yeah.
right now, we're in the dark ages.
Yeah.
They don't even have the information.
And that's one of the things I share with my team and the people that are connecting with me. I say, we have to do a really good job of making sure we mobilize people in front of the information.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, we're not responsible, but getting people in front of the information is extremely key. So
Mhm.
another couple questions. I know we're gonna be tying it, wrapping up here really
Yeah.
quick. If you're watching this, listen, make sure you share this with somebody. If you want more information, drop a comment, message myself or Leland here, and we'll get back with you. If you want us to come to your church and have this conversation, or even speak to your church, or just speak to you, then we want to make sure that we can connect with you as
And
well.
please don't forget to go to the website, gfiforfaith.com. If you're on there listening, GFI, the number four, faith.com. GFI, the number four, faith.com. So we'll put that on there on the recording as well. Want to make sure you guys go check out the website, go look at it. It's amazing. It has
Yeah,
amazing things on it. You can get lost in there looking at different things, pastors who are speaking about the things that we've done, information that you're doing. You even can get access to the book on there. We definitely want you to go in there, register, and you can book a free consultation on there with this. It's free. And we'll have somebody from our staff or somebody to meet with you. Our board is now designed and they can be able to meet with you and in all the different type of things that you need.
yeah, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and put that in the chat here in a second. But one
Mhm.
question I want to ask you a couple, before we wrap up is big vision moving forward. What would you say? How would you say, or how would you describe? Give me that picture, that look of what success looks like from the
Mhm.
faith division in say 3 or 5 years. What is a successful faith division with GFI? What does that look like? Give me some
Mhm.
fruit. What are people? What is happening because of the work that's going forward?
So this is the vision and the mission that we will be successful at. That financial literacy and education will be in all conventions, in seminary schools, in every type of faith church, that they will understand where to look at and go to be able to get the information. That there'll be seminars, there'll be conventions about these things where churches can actually be involved with this. That the big men and women of God who are in control, we want to pass that to them. The ones that have the followings, that they start taking the time to make sure that they got the right information for their parishioners. That no longer that we start to defeat GoFundMe, right? My vision is that in the next 3 years, we'll be in all 50 states and probably 30 countries in the next 3 years. Why? Because we've already got 51,000 people in our organization. So we
Yeah.
are going to be at 2 to 300,000 people who will have the right information. All of them, a lot of them are believers. No matter what denomination that they're in, no matter what faith that they belong to, that's okay. We just want to plant the seeds and be able to water them and watch people be able to get this stuff. Because if we don't do it now, our children are going to struggle. Let me say this before I go, Pastor, because I know we got to wrap this up today. You think about this. Kids are getting out of college right now with more debt than we've ever seen before
Yeah.
in the history of the country. And we are clapping for it because they graduated into debt
Wow.
that
Yeah.
they will never be able to pay back. I got two guys that I'm working with right now, 160,000, 130,000 babies, 22 years old, and they're going to have to pay that and they can't find a job.
Yeah.
And so, just the simple information that the parents over the next 10 years, if they got the right information, if you're listening to this, please get the information. Don't let your baby go there and get $100,000 of debt.
Yeah.
My boys graduate from college, they ain't got no debt. They don't even have, my daughter's getting ready to go to college, they don't have no debt. So we don't do that, but it's all based on the fact that knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So that's my vision, my mission, my crusade is to really partner with people and to really get them to get on the right path. There are so many talented people that are already in the congregation. There's churches that I go to and they're like, Reverend, we already got people that are in the financial industry. I say, well, what happened? Well, we don't mix state, church, and
Yeah.
business. No, no, no. We have to have the conversation. Just do it on Saturday, then. I mean, get
Yeah.
some chicken and get everybody to come there and do a PowerPoint and show what you can do.
Yeah.
Just so just make sure that everybody has a chance to get it. I know that some people would say, oh, we kind of want, but at the end of the day, if you don't get this information correct, a lot of the lighthouses are going to be dark.
Yeah.
There's going to be another reckoning where people have to talk again about that. So that's our goal, that's our vision, and we're going to get this done, Pastor. And I know that God is with us because
Yeah.
we've already seen success already in it. So we definitely want to make sure we keep pushing it.
Yeah, listen, if you're watching this, I want to just invite you to just drop a comment, share this live feed with the people that you know. I see some of you guys. Thank you all who have joined us now. You're dropping people's name in there. We want to get this message out. This is something that's really on our heart, and we believe God is going to do it. I also want to extend this to those of you who are listening to say this is great information, but I want to join it. I want to join the mission. I want to join the crusade. If that is you, I would love to have a conversation with you so that you can join what we're doing. You can partner with us. You can go be boots on ground right alongside of us as we evangelize this message, right? To make sure that we do fully believe the Bible tells us that we're to be the head and not the tail, the lenders and not the borrowers. But we have to have the right understanding from a financial stewardship perspective of what that looks like. And so we are absolutely in need for soldiers that's going to be in the army with us, that's going to fight alongside of us, that's going to be willing to build this thing out. And like Pastor Rubin mentioned earlier, the devil has confused us to make us believe that it is taboo to talk about finances in the church. And we're gonna break that down, and we're gonna partner with the right people. We're gonna accomplish this vision that God has given us. Do you want to speak to anybody really quickly that might want to join us in this endeavor, or did I say it good enough?
No, you did a good job, man.
Okay,
Yeah, you
awesome,
did
man.
a
I'm,
good
I'm
job, man.
listen. I'm excited. Next Monday is the official. A lot of people don't even realize what we've been doing has kind of been the beta testing, the official launch of the Faith Division with GFI. We're really excited about it. We believe a lot of people's lives will be changed and transformed. A lot of worship centers will be blessed because they will be able to educate the parishioner, have self-sustaining churches, and the pastors and leaders' well-being will be taken care of. God bless all of you that are watching. We look forward to continuing these. Be on the lookout as we do more lives every single week, giving the tools and the resources that you need to be financially astute. God bless you.